Let me start because I want to.
Yeah, go, Antonio.
Now that we're so many, the idea is to have like it's not a post-mortem because we'll continue, but just an assessment of this year, what you like, what we should keep, what should we change for next year. So it's something that I think that we need to participate, all of us, taking the decision together. I think we need to evolve. We need to change things, and I'm glad that you are all still here after I don't know how many weeks, how many calls. I lost track. So what I propose is breakout rooms. I think everybody can talk and contribute for about 20 minutes. I will make 5 groups, and then I had prepared 2 questions. Let me see if I can quickly share what I had in mind. You can, of course, change that and come up with whatever. There's no rules in this group. That's a nice thing. So top 3 things you enjoyed and you want to keep as a group, so not individually. You can first have a individual point of view, but then group into top 3s. And top 3, if you have 3 or 2, it's enough. New things or changes for 2021 for the whole initiative. And maybe you say we stop here. That's also possible. But I'll leave you to discuss that in your breakout room. So I'll give you about 20 minutes so that we have enough time for each group to share and listen and work together to some kind of alignment. I'm always worried about these breakouts because it's hard to align afterwards, but let's see. Let's see. Let me just do it automatically. So I'll put 5 groups and I'll see you in 20 minutes. You captured the question. So top 3 or top 2 things that you like and you want to keep. Top 3 things that we should do differently or stop or new. Okay, and just appoint 1 speaker. You can have 2 speakers, 1 for each question as well. So I'll see you in a minute.
Good, I will look forward.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, good to see you.
Okay, we're getting all back. I think after 7 months, we know how Zoom works, which is good. Now we don't lose people on the way, so that's very, very good. So let me go group by group. Don't need to explain too much, but just what would be the 1, 2, 3 things that you want to keep, that your group liked, and anything new for next year. So let's see if there's new ideas. And let me just before, I think one of the challenges I've seen is that we have a lot of ideas, but we don't have the manpower, the time to deliver them. So we started very excited, but then I think we had like 10 groups, then it became 2 or 3, and I think there's about 2 like quite. So I think we need to be open to listen to the ideas, but when we start thinking about how to implement it, we'll need to be a bit more cautious for next year, depending on what we want to do. So, but that was just a small remark. So let me start with group 2. I'm going to do a bit different. So group 2, who was in group 2, if I remember well?
I think that was us.
Paula.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
Paula.
Yeah.
I think that was us. So just bear with me for a moment. I'm just trying to sort of sort all of this out. So I'm going to go sort of very organically based on the comments that we got. First of all, I do want to thank everybody for their contributions, because I think we all have some really great ideas, and you know, we're all in a process of evolving how we as a collective, because this is a collective. It's a collective of ideas, a collective of experiences and expertise. And I think as a collective, like a consulting collective or as a knowledge transfer collective, it works really well, and we are all very enthusiastic about it. So, and that's what keeps us coming. So thank you, Antonio, for putting out the invitation once again. And I'm glad we're looking at that. At least our group thought we wanted to continue. So in a nutshell, there was a proposal. So some of the things that we really liked. We liked the speaker series. So my suggestion along that was everybody leverage their networks to propose an expert to you, so you can vet them in along the lines of how you want to see our group develop, since this was also your initiative. So we'd like to, you know, engage your thought processes along that. And maybe we could have like some criteria for it that we could just put out there to the group that we'd like to, so that we can have an idea of who might be best to propose. And that way it's not always a guess from week to week or from month to month as to who might be interested. We could just have that planned out ahead of time. You know, and as new people come up, then it's easier for you as well to plan your time, Antonio. And it's also easy for us to plan our time in terms of how we can also sort of help, you know, facilitate the session if we're the ones who have, you know, sort of sponsored the expert invitee. So that's something that that we've suggested, is continuing on with those expert sessions, because we get a lot of benefit from them. There's a lot of interesting new ideas, and it sparks other ideas in the group. So that's one thing that we definitely want to continue. We like, and we want to continue. There was a suggestion that while we can continue our groups, I think we need to revisit perhaps some of the purposefulness of some of those groups, and what would make sense for us moving forward as we transition into, you know, the new beyond, shall we say, of post-COVID. Hopefully it'll be post-COVID. I think we're okay with the meeting on Thursdays, although personally I would prefer it on the weekend. But you know, I think as we decide to engage in the way in which we can engage, the idea was to continue this group at least once a week. As far as the working groups are concerned, I think engaging more people to participate in those working groups would be helpful, and really focusing the work that we want to do on the working groups that are moving forward. There was also a proposal of perhaps being more specific and sort of plotting out vision and a mission for the group in general for GIPI. Also, Terry had this brilliant idea of doing more sort of publicity for the group by doing interviewing sets of 2 or 3 people at a time from our group, talking about, you know, what we're getting out of this group, and then posting them to social media. So I think that would be a really good way of promoting as well the fact that we're coming together. And so continuing on would be a really good idea. Also, the case studies. There was a mention of looking at trends in project management, not only from the PMI perspective, and really having a critical view of that, but also case studies looking at how we are actually helping companies doing that consultancy, and like you said, Antonio, disrupting the consultancy business by using this collective as a way in which to do so.
Okay, thank you to your group. And Paula, I move to the next group, and I think it's more about seeing what else you have to add to the ideas here shared. So all very good. So I'm glad to see that. Group, let's go for group 3.
Sorry, before you continue, I forgot one last thing, and this had to do with networking, and this was actually something I proposed, but I'd forgotten to mention it. So there is the transition network of networks of collectives like this. It's called transitionnetworks.org. That has recently come out, and it's actually based in Europe, but it has a collective of all transition networks around the world. So it might be a good resource for us to use in future, with regard to maybe registering with it. It might be a source of extra information and extra sort of leveraging of what we can produce through this group.
Okay, thank you, Paula. Group 3, who was in group 3? I didn't.
Yeah, it was me and Andre and Monica, and we had. Oh, I need to see. Um, well, I think the most of us know. Okay. I was provided with the task to present what we came up with. So we did it very structured, and things we want to stay is that Antonio, we want the sessions to stay. So don't stop, keep going. that's one thing. It's literally our number one point. The second thing we want, and we really liked, is literally the breakout groups. You meet people that you hardly meet in a more smaller set. You get to know each other a little bit more, and you make deeper connections very quickly. What we also like you to keep doing is invite speakers. Indeed, it was mentioned already by a previous talker, so I'm not going to dive into that. And what we also would love to stay is maintain the social foundation of what we started off with, helping somebody else. See if we can find other people that need help, maybe not with all of us at the same time, but maybe with focus groups. There's one thing that we saw as an improvement, say, instead of jumping with 30 or 40 people on one company, select 2 or 3. They have the network with the rest of the group. They 2 or 3 who focus, take really what is it that this organization needs, and then we'll find out, okay, who do we need to connect with that to come with a very fast, quick solution based on theories that we have. Your book was mentioned in the talk as well. So we know that we have project elements that you need to manage. How can we help organizations using the elements of that book of the project canvas, so those kind of things. Things we would love to change was can we have it 1 or 2 hours later? That was one thing that we came out, because I think the majority of our group was in Europe. And even though I'm in the Middle East, at least 1 or 2 hours later would literally fit my time a little bit, because it's the end of the afternoon and some of the meetings are still happening. And also the thing we like to change, we would like to propose is, maybe more general topics based on publications or disruptions that we had in 1 or 2 weeks before. Sometimes maybe an article that was in the HBR or on disruptions saying, hey, what happened here, and then find an opinion about it. That would be an idea. Mm-hmm. Things to introduce, because we thought, why don't we just add a category? Things to introduce, we thought that was fun. Lunch and learn to take a deeper understanding of each other. So, see if you can make deeper connections with each other outside the regular call. But, hey, we're going to organize a lunch and learn. This is the topic we're going to discuss, and it's going to be happening at that time. That would be a good idea. Or you say, Antonio, hey, listen, here's a book or here's an article. Read the book. 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a talk about it, like a book discussion. Something that's now a trending book. We thought that would be nice to introduce. And then we had our discussion went into, what are the topics that we would like to discuss very, very, very soon. One of them was, how are we going to go back to normal? That's one thing. With vaccines coming in, how are we going to go back to normal? And the question then is, what is normal now? Research maybe, how disruptive has 2020 been to the status quo, and do we really want to go back to the old? Because there's a lot of things that we did last year that we actually all really like. Working from home, those kind of things. Is working on location still valid? Or, is 50-50 a valid option? Or even 75-25, 25% you are with your customer, the rest of the time you're somewhere else. And it would give you some things. Those are things we as a group thought that would be interesting to introduce back. So that was it from group 3.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Anybody from group 3 want to add something, or did I miss?
Let me move Antoine to the next group, and then we do a bit of debrief so that we get everyone to speak. Group 4, yeah.
I don't know the number of our group.
I think, Mark, you were number 1.
Okay.
Group 4, it was not Yolanda, the bigger group. So who was in 4? Andre, you were in group 4? I think so. Who was in group 4? Thomas.
Maybe.
Thomas.
Maybe I don't recall it actually.
You were Thomas, yes.
So we were a group of 5 diverse people. So from Canada, from Malta, a Brit from Malta, from Sweden, Bahrain, and myself from Germany. And things we liked, we have a lot, and I'll put it also on the chat if you want to read it. But there was one sentence I want to highlight is your meetings bring the world to the kitchen table. And so this is an emotional statement, that we need that we have a kitchen table and we have the world there, and that is the benefit most of us cherish, even if people are absent for some weeks now. What to stop? We discussed and we found nothing. So continue with that, and but we have some suggestions for new stuff. And so one thing is we are maybe a group of 100 potential attendees. So we think we should start to profile ourselves in order to connect for projects. If in this small group I found out there's sometime in somebody in the maritime business, and I'm just working on a maritime business project. So maybe there is a way to work together. The second new thing we found out is that we should really focus on 2 projects in the next year. And the one project is how to help with the vaccination project we will have all over the globe. And secondly, as was mentioned before, how to go out of the COVID world. If it's a new normal, we don't know, but it's changing everything so quickly. And there was one good example from Michel, our Canadian participant, who said his problem is to give students a view of the future, which skills they should develop. It's all changing now for them, and that's really a challenge now to help them to understand what they should learn for and what they should learn as a content. And I want to add as a last point, we could also, as we meet together and we have breakout rooms, we do this and that, we might want to explore additional innovative meeting techniques for this kind of virtual meetings. So there's a lot of more that could be explored, and maybe just, have a small group figure out what we could do and have an input from others, and then we try it from meeting to meeting.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you to the group. Quite also nice ideas. Let me group to 5, the big group. Diana was there. 2 was there. Bruno, I think.
So group 5. So it was Lourdes, Bruno, Suzanne, Laszlo, Jack, and Glenn. And truly Yolanda. And I have the pleasure of speaking on behalf of the group. Everybody, first and foremost, wants to thank Antonio very much for his leadership in this over the last 9 months, and for putting us together and give us this opportunity to be together. So thank you, Antonio. And what the group said they liked was the group in general, making new contacts with new people. The quality of the speakers was impeccable and absolutely amazing. And the recordings, of course, were helpful if we couldn't participate, and we could go back and review these, and being able to ask questions, and working on some of the projects we all loved, and I am very much grateful and truly love all the groups that were formed, and the work that we've done with some of the companies is very amazing. And Diana, your group is amazing too. And so I think we've done great. I know Ricardo started his, and I can't say enough about, Terry and Juan Manuel with the NSPM. So it's been great. What would they like to see is they would like a place where we can collaborate and maybe exchange ideas. I mean, just right now, looks like Suzanne and I have a common interest in blockchain technology, and we may be hooking up. offline. So things like that it was mentioned, and perhaps say this is where we're going to meet, and I like the reoccurring, knowing that on Thursday mornings we meet, but there's been some discussions about the time. And for 2020, can we put a best practices document together, and how can that happen? That came from Jacques, and kind of like a code of conduct, or how have we done this, and maybe scale it to a best practice. And that's it for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you to the group. Great ideas. It's dangerous, this exercise, because you bring more ideas, and all very good. My God. Last group, Mark.
Right?
Hi, all. We had a good group. We agree that we like the people that were brought in. And I would say we could also submit suggestions for that. The word democratic came up, which I thought was terrific. That in this form of meeting, new ways to connect, and that it's worldwide, and we all like that. We had a good discussion prompted by Richard of online versus in person, because he just conducted the Drucker Forum online. And I think one thing that we can learn is how to do online better. The one suggestion that I highly recommend is that Richard said you can go into the corner of your own little box with your face on it and hit the 3 dots and then change your name. Well, how do we want to name ourselves? Like, I changed my name to Mark Prensky Empowerment. And so if we do that, we can identify our interests and see who works together better. So we can add tags. And the other thing was being more specific. The smaller groups work better than the bigger groups, for me. And the more we can have people in the smaller groups who are really focused on a particular thing, the better it is for me. Speaking personally, and I think other people have echoed that. There's big silence. I don't know.
I wonder if something happened to Antonio.
I think that Antonio
Appears to be offline.
now
Yeah.
become a statue. Yeah.
That was great.
I
Thanks.
heard a phone going.
Sorry. I'm back. I'm having problems with the Wi-Fi lately. No, I just want to tell you that, yes, I think the ideas are all great. I would like to focus the next 3 months, maybe more inward. So like you with Sen, let's get to know each other better. Let's find connections. So one thought I said, maybe we, instead of bringing speakers, you are the speakers. I just don't know how to logistically make it happen, because today we're 36, that would be 36 sessions. So I don't know if do smaller sessions or just 3 people per week. But I would like to, now that we have built this momentum, that we, a bit like Richard was saying as well, how can we now formalize a bit more these connections, collaborations? Thomas was, so that idea is again, whatever suggestions you have, just share it and take the steps. There's no boss here. This is a self-managed team. I just put the Zoom call and that's it. The rest can work in networks and doesn't need to go through me, but would be, I think, a next step for the next 3 months. Who are we? A bit better, and knowing about our hobbies and what we like, expertise. What do we need to be successful? How can we help others? So that would be for me the focus of the next 3 months.
Did you hear while you were offline, Richard's suggestion that we can rename ourselves online in our boxes, so that instead of saying Antonio Nieto-Rodriguez, which takes up a long part, you could say Antonio Project Management, or
I like
Mark
that.
Empowerment, and then we can try to help us connect better in terms of our interests.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard that the tagging is good, just not the names. So one focus will be knowing to each other. So you will be all speakers. I don't know what's the format. Any ideas, let me know. I like that smaller groups so that everybody contributes and shares. So I think that's something that we need to think out. The weekly is a bit of a heavy load, but maybe we can find people who take care every Thursday one topic, and then we can split a bit that tack, and we can do one Thursday about books, one Thursday about coffee, and just chatting personal hobbies. So it's something that I thought it would be nice. I think that's where we need to go next, is getting deeper into this community, how we can help each other and help others, and find these opportunities to do more case studies, like you call them, helping companies who are still struggling there. So I think that's the power of this community. So maybe a bit less external speakers and all of you speakers. The other idea, I thought writing a book with what we've learned, what you have, or a video book where everybody records a minute or two. I just don't know how that will work, because I know Richard knows about this. These type of projects, a new book, and so it requires a heavy investment. So, and I don't think we have the time for those things, but the best practice of how can we leverage what Yolanda was saying. So I would just keep discussing. I'll summarize what we just said, and then we just need to prioritize. We'll get together either online or by email or forum. We can do so. Any new tool that you hear and you want to try. I don't know if maybe there's a tool that you are connected 24 hours and people just come and go, and there's always somebody there to chat if you want. I just have no clue, but anything, try it and bring it here. I think we are a bit of an experiment itself. I was thinking, you talk about culture in companies. We're building a new culture, like Antoine was saying, online culture. What does it mean? How does it work? So I think we don't know really what we're making out of this, but I just enjoy it very much, and I look forward every Thursday to have this moment together. So I want to finish on time. I think we need to find a way to keep that communication constant, not every Thursday. Any idea, any prototype, anything you want to test, just do it. And I'll summarize everything, and I'll share a bit the thinking for next year. But I was worried maybe we would be our last call forever, and I see that it will not be the last call. We're going to continue next year.
Okay, I just want to jump in real quick. Antonio, you're a wonderful connection, and I'm glad to call you friend. For us to think about a platform, Slack, S-L-A-C-K, is such a platform that's open 24 hours. I have 3 groups that I monitor on Slack right now, so it's a 24-hour live chat room. So, you know, somebody who's IT lovely, could look into that. That is a great platform for us to chat. Okay. And I would be happy to pop in to start working with this video idea, because I think it's powerful. Thank you so much. I got my next appointment. Bye.
Thank you very much. Good to see you, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Well, I think we'll see each other before. Take care. Thank you for being there.
Ciao.